Chinese submarines encircle Taiwan at 300 feet depth, 23 boats, diesel-electric Type 039s, nuclear Type 093s. They form underwater blockade. Surface ships cannot pass without detection. At 4:47 a.m., commercial tanker MV Pacific Hope approaches Kaohsiung. Type 039 Submarine 418 achieves firing solution. 1 torpedo, ship sinks, 15 sailors drown. Taiwan's lifeline is cut. No fuel imports, no food shipments, no medical supplies. Island economy strangles. American response mobilizes immediately. USS Mississippi and 7 attack submarines deploy to break blockade. This is war over sea lanes. This is battle for Taiwan's survival. This is submarines versus submarines. This is 21st century naval warfare at its deadliest. June 15, 2025, Chinese Eastern Theater Command executes Operation Maritime Stranglehold, not invasion, blockade, siege, prevent all shipping to Taiwan, starve island into submission. Taiwan imports 98% of energy, 70% of food, 100% of critical industrial materials. Island cannot survive isolation. Chinese strategy is patience. Strangle economy, wait for surrender. Avoid costly amphibious assault. Let hunger and darkness force capitulation. Strategy requires controlling sea lanes, every shipping route, every approach to port, every possible resupply path. Chinese Navy commits 87 surface combatants, 23 submarines, 340 maritime patrol aircraft, everything needed for total blockade. Taiwan's economy depends absolutely on maritime trade, 15 major ports. Kaohsiung handles 60% of container traffic. Taichung processes bulk cargo. Keelung serves northern routes. These ports receive 47,000 ship arrivals annually. Import $340 billion in goods. Export $380 billion. Everything moves by sea. Crude oil from Middle East, LNG from Qatar, coal from Australia, food from Americas. Taiwan has 0 natural resources, no oil, no coal, no iron ore. Island exists entirely on trade. Cut trade and Taiwan dies economically within weeks, militarily within months. This is Chinese pressure point. This is Taiwan's strategic vulnerability. This is why blockade works. What's your assessment? Type A if you think blockade succeeds. Type B if you think America breaks it. Chinese blockade begins at midnight, June 15th. Surface combatants establish patrol zones. Type 055 destroyers north of Taiwan. Type 052Ds east. Type 054A frigates south. Each ship carries anti-ship missiles. Surface-to-air defenses, helicopters with dipping sonar. They scan continuously for merchant vessels. Any ship approaching Taiwan gets intercepted, boarded, turned away. Chinese declare 200-mile exclusion zone. Any vessel entering faces seizure or destruction. International law is irrelevant. Might makes right. Chinese Navy enforces their rules through presence and threat. Submarines provide underwater layer. Type 039, Yuan-class diesel electrics patrol, shallow waters. Silent, patient, deadly. They're equipped with AIP systems, air-independent propulsion. Can remain submerged 20-plus days. Perfect blockade platforms. Type 093, Shang-class nuclear submarines patrol deeper waters, faster, longer range, more weapons. They hunt shipping lanes between Taiwan and Philippines, between Taiwan and Japan. Every possible resupply route. Maritime patrol aircraft provide air coverage. Y-8 surveillance planes, armed with anti-ship missiles. They scan surface for vessels. Coordinate with ships and submarines. Complete 3-dimensional coverage. Nothing gets through without Chinese knowledge. Nothing gets through without Chinese permission. Don't miss how this sea lane war develops. Subscribe for complete blockade analysis. First casualty occurs at 4:47 a.m., June 15th. MV Pacific Hope, Liberian-flagged oil tanker, approaches Kaohsiung from Singapore. Carries 2 million barrels crude oil, essential for Taiwan's refineries. Power generation, transportation, chemical industry. Ship is 40 miles from port. International waters, legal transit, Type 039, Submarine 418, detects tanker through passive sonar. Engine noise, propeller cavitation, easy target. Submarine commander, Captain Liu Wei, receives orders from Eastern Theater Command. Sink all vessels approaching Taiwan. No warnings, no survivors if possible. Orders are clear. Implementation is brutal. Submarine achieves firing solution. Range 6,000 yards. Perfect geometry. Fires one U-6 heavyweight torpedo. Wire-guided. Active, passive homing. Runs at 50 knots. Pacific Hope's bridge crew never detect threat. Torpedo impacts amidships at 4:52 a.m. 500-pound warhead detonates. Blast ruptures fuel tanks. Crude oil ignites. Fireball erupts. Ship breaks apart. Sinks in 8 minutes. 15 crew members die, 10 from initial blast, 5 drown. Nobody rescues. Chinese submarine withdraws silently. Mission accomplished. Taiwan loses 2 million barrels. First blood to blockade. News spreads rapidly. International shipping companies react immediately. Maersk suspends all Taiwan routes. Mediterranean Shipping Company cancels sailings. Evergreen Marine diverts vessels. Insurance rates for Taiwan-bound shipping spike to 15%. War risk premiums become prohibitive. Most companies simply refuse Taiwan business. Too dangerous, too expensive, not worth risk. Within 24 hours, commercial shipping to Taiwan drops 89%. Chinese blockade achieves objective without firing additional shots. Threat alone suffices. Economic strangulation begins. This level of blockade analysis requires serious research. Subscribe to support this work. Taiwan's situation deteriorates rapidly as blockade tightens. Island maintains strategic reserves calculated for exactly this scenario. 90-day oil reserves stored in underground caverns. 45 days food stockpiles in government warehouses. 30 days medical supplies in hospitals and depots. But these reserves were calculated for peacetime consumption. War changes everything. Military operations consume fuel rapidly. Air Force sorties, Navy patrols, Army mobilization. Reserve diesel generators for critical infrastructure. Emergency services, hospitals, water treatment. Consumption triples. 90 days becomes 30 days at wartime rates. Food situation equally dire. 23 million people. Normal consumption requires 8,000 tons daily imports. Stockpiles of 360,000 tons seem adequate. But panic buying depletes reserves faster. People hoard, stockpile homes, buy extras. Supermarket shelves empty, June 16th. Government announces emergency measures, June 17th. Fuel rationing begins immediately. Private vehicles limited to 10 liters weekly. Commercial transport prioritized. Rolling blackouts scheduled. 4 hours daily, rotating regions. Preserve power generation capacity. Food distribution controls implemented. Rationing cards issued. Basic staples guaranteed, but luxuries eliminated. Rice, vegetables, protein, essentials only. Public reaction is anxiety, but not panic initially. Taiwanese remember 1996 missile crisis. Know how to endure pressure. Confidence in government remains. Belief that America will intervene. That blockade cannot last. That somehow supplies will arrive. First week passes. Reserves deplete 8% instead of expected 2%. Reality sinks in. This is serious. This is existential. This is survival crisis. American response requires massive coordination across government and military. President convenes National Security Council emergency session June 16th at 7 UAO's a.m. Situation room. Vice President attends. Secretary of State, Secretary of Defense, Chairman Joint Chiefs, CIA Director, National Security Advisor. They review intelligence briefings. Chinese blockade is comprehensive. 23 submarines deployed. 87 surface combatants patrolling, 340 maritime patrol aircraft conducting surveillance, commercial shipping avoiding Taiwan entirely, insurance rates prohibitive, shipping companies refuse routes, Taiwan economically isolated, 3 options presented. First, accept blockade. Condemn verbally. Take no military action. Let Taiwan negotiate surrender terms with Beijing. Preserve American forces. Avoid Great Power War. This option is politically unacceptable. Taiwan Relations Act requires American response. Abandoning Taiwan destroys American credibility globally. Every ally questions commitment. Every adversary tests resolve. Second option, break blockade through military force. Deploy submarines to hunt Chinese vessels. Escort merchant ships through exclusion zone. Guarantee delivery using naval power. Accept combat. Accept casualties. Defend Taiwan sea lanes militarily. This risks escalation. Direct superpower confrontation. Potential nuclear crisis. But demonstrates commitment. Shows resolve. Defends ally. Third option, negotiate with Beijing. Offer Taiwan concessions in exchange for blockade lifting. Perhaps interim agreement. Postponed reunification. Guaranteed autonomy. Something Beijing accepts. This appears weak. Rewards aggression. Encourages future adventures. Undermines deterrence. President deliberates 47 minutes. Considers implications. Weighs costs. Assesses risks. Chooses option 2. Break blockade militarily. Deploy submarines immediately. Organize convoy operations. Escort merchant shipping. Demonstrate American commitment regardless of cost. Orders flash to Pacific Fleet within minutes. Operation Open Corridor activates. USS Mississippi receives execute authority June 17th. Mission parameters clear. Transit to Taiwan waters. Hunt Chinese submarines. Sink targets of opportunity. Escort commercial shipping through blockade. Rules of engagement. Weapons free. This is war. Virginia-class attack submarine departs Guam at 2:47 a.m., June 17th. Silent, deadly. Mission duration indefinite. Captain Jennifer Torres commands. 134 crew, 14 officers, 120 enlisted, all volunteers, all professionals. They know risks. Chinese submarines are numerous. Waters are shallow. Acoustic conditions favor defender. American technological advantage narrows in Taiwan Strait. But mission is critical. Taiwan's survival depends on breaking blockade. Mississippi will try. What would you do as American submarine commander? Comment your tactical approach below. 7 additional American attack submarines deploy. USS Columbia, USS Hawaii, USS Texas, USS North Dakota, USS Indiana, USS Washington, USS Delaware. Mix of Virginia-class and Los Angeles-class boats. Total of 8 submarines hunting Chinese fleet. Mission is sink Chinese blockade vessels. Surface ships and submarines. Create safe passage for commercial shipping. Re-establish Taiwan's maritime lifeline. This is Operation Open Corridor. Largest American submarine deployment since Cold War. Deadliest anti-submarine warfare environment since World War II. Shallow waters, heavy traffic, opposing submarines everywhere. Acoustic conditions terrible. Every advantage favors defender. Americans accept disadvantages. Mission demands it. USS Mississippi receives execute authority June 17th at 2:47 a.m. Guam time. Flash message from Commander Submarine Forces Pacific. Proceed Taiwan Strait. Hunt Chinese submarines. Sink targets of opportunity. Escort commercial shipping. Rules of engagement. Weapons free. This is combat operations. Captain Jennifer Torres reads orders twice. Understands implications. This is war, not exercise, not posturing. Actual combat against peer adversary. Mississippi is Virginia-class attack submarine. 7,800 tons submerged, 377 feet long. Crew of 134, 14 officers, 120 enlisted sailors, all volunteers, extensively trained. Combat systems are cutting edge. ANBYG-1 combat control, TB-29 towed array sonar, spherical bow array, wide aperture arrays along hull, 4 torpedo tubes, 12 vertical launch tubes, carries 26 Mk-48 AD cap torpedoes, 12 Tomahawk cruise missiles, enough weapons for extended patrol. Mississippi is quieter than any submarine in history. Pump jet propulsion, anechoic coating, isolated machinery, acoustic signature nearly undetectable. Chinese submarines are loud by comparison. Technological advantage belongs to America. But Chinese have numbers. 23 submarines versus 8 American. Geography favors defender. Taiwan Strait is shallow. 200 feet average depth. Acoustic conditions terrible. Sound propagates unpredictably. Bottom bounce, surface reflection, thermal layers. Every factor complicates detection. American submarines are better. Chinese environment is better. Net advantage, unknown, combat will determine. Mississippi departs Guam at 3:17 a.m., submerges immediately, descends to 400 feet, sets course for Taiwan, distance 1,800 miles, transit speed 20 knots. Arrival time 90 hours, 4 days. Quiet routine begins, watch rotation, meal schedule, maintenance, training. Everything normal except mission. This isn't exercise, this is war patrol. Soviet submarine forces in Cold War. German U-boats in World War II. Now American attack submarines hunting Chinese in Taiwan waters. History repeats in new form. Mississippi enters Taiwan Strait June 21st at midnight. Submerged 300 feet. Silent ship routine. TB-29 towed array deploys. Listens passively. Detects Chinese Type 039 at 18,000 yards. Diesel electric on batteries. Very quiet but not silent. Propeller cavitation, gear noise, hull pops, sonar hears, computers classify. Torres tracks 90 minutes, range closes, 12,000 yards, 10,000, 8,000. At 6,000 yards, geometry optimal. Orders Mk-48 launch, fire control calculates. Shoot on generated bearing, tube 1 fires. Torpedo swims 55 knots. Wire guided, passive initially. At 2,000 yards goes active, pings. Chinese detect. Too late. Attempts evasion. Hard turn. Speed increase. Decoy launched. Mk-48 ignores. Homes on propeller. Impacts under keel. Detonates. 650-pound warhead. Gas bubble lifts submarine. Back breaks. Hull ruptures. Floods. Sinks. Stern first. All 36 crew die. First kill logged. Mission continues. If you're following this underwater warfare, hit subscribe now. But Chinese submarines hunt Americans too. Type 093 Submarine 4117 detects USS Columbia at 14,000 yards through passive sonar. Reactor coolant pumps create distinctive signature. Type 093 commander positions for attack. Range 8,000 yards, fires 2 U-10 torpedoes. Advanced weapons, faster than U-6. Smarter guidance. Columbia detects launch, executes evasive maneuvers, launches acoustic countermeasures. ADC Mk2 mobile decoys. Creates false acoustic signatures. First torpedo homes on decoy, explodes. Second, maintains track. Hits Columbia's stern, detonates, damages propeller, jams rudder. Flooding begins. Columbia surfaces. Damage control teams fight to save boat. Submarine survives, but mission killed. Must return to Guam for repairs. First American submarine damaged. Underwater warfare proves costly both sides. By June 25th, submarine warfare reaches stalemate. Americans sank 7 Chinese submarines, 4 Type 039s, 3 Type 093s. Chinese killed 2 American boats, damaged 3 others. USS Hawaii sunk with all hands. USS Texas heavily damaged. Exchange rate favors America. Technology advantage shows. But Chinese have numbers. They replace losses. Americans cannot quickly. More importantly, blockade continues. Despite submarine losses, Chinese surface ships still patrol. Maritime aircraft still survey. Commercial shipping still avoids Taiwan. American submarines killed Chinese boats. Didn't break blockade. Taiwan still isolated, reserves depleting, time favoring China. American strategy shifts June 26th. Cannot break blockade with submarines alone. Need surface presence, need air cover, need to escort merchant ships physically through exclusion zone. Force Chinese to attack American vessels. create incident-justifying broader response. Requires carrier presence. USS Ronald Reagan deploys from Japan. USS Carl Vinson from Philippines. 2 carrier strike groups, 22 surface combatants. 144 aircraft. They position east of Taiwan. Prepare to escort convoy. This is escalation. This is commitment. This is risking carriers to break blockade. High stakes, higher costs if unsuccessful. Your engagement shapes what we create. Comment your analysis and share this video. First convoy assembles July 1st. 12 merchant vessels, container ships, tankers, bulk carriers, carrying food, fuel, medicine. Everything Taiwan needs. Reagan Battle Group escorts from east. Vinson Group provides air cover. Chinese response is immediate. Eastern Theater Command orders maximum resistance. Sink convoy, sink escorts if necessary. Demonstrate blockade cannot be broken. Orders go to all forces. Surface ships, submarines, aircraft, maritime militia. Everyone attacks. This is decisive moment. If convoy succeeds, blockade fails. Chinese credibility collapses. If convoy sinks, American commitment questioned. Taiwan abandoned. Everything depends on next 48 hours. Chinese attack begins July the 2nd at 6:47 a.m. Coordinated multi-axis assault. Surface ships fire 240 YJ-18 anti-ship missiles from 200 miles. Submarines launch 48 torpedoes at convoy vessels. Aircraft drop 180 anti-ship missiles. Maritime militia vessels swarm with explosives. Total of 468 weapons targeting convoy and escorts. This is everything Chinese can throw. Maximum effort. Overwhelming violence. American defenses activate. SM-6 long-range interceptors. SM-2 medium-range. ESSM close defense. FA-18s engaging Chinese aircraft. Phalanx systems tracking incoming. Defensive success rate reaches 73%. Out of 468 weapons, 126 penetrate. Hit merchant ships and escorts. 7 merchants sink. 3 escorts destroyed. But 5 merchants survive. Reach Kaohsiung July 3rd. Deliver cargo. Blockade is broken. Temporarily. Was breaking blockade worth the cost? Could different strategy have worked? Share your assessment below. Casualties reflect brutal nature of sea lane warfare. Chinese losses: 23 submarines sunk, 17 surface ships destroyed, 67 aircraft shot down, 3,200 sailors killed. American losses: 4 submarines sunk, 8 surface ships destroyed, 23 aircraft lost, 2,180 sailors killed. Plus 340 merchant mariners dead on 7 sunken ships. Both sides bled heavily. Blockade broke temporarily. But Chinese can reimpose. Americans can escort again. This becomes pattern. Convoy, attack, casualties, delivery, repeat. Unsustainable for both sides. Taiwan receives supplies, but at terrible cost. Question is whether anyone's will endures. Whether casualties remain acceptable. Whether commitment sustains. War over sea lanes becomes war of attrition. Nobody wins. Both sides just bleed until one quits. If you made it through this sea lane warfare analysis, you understand modern blockade operations. Subscribe. 3 final questions for naval strategists. First, can modern blockades succeed against determined opposition? Second, are convoy operations sustainable when each costs dozens of ships and thousands of lives? Third, does Taiwan's survival justify unlimited American casualties defending sea lanes? Your analysis matters. Drop detailed assessment. Share with maritime professionals. Subscribe because sea lane warfare determines Taiwan's fate. Without maritime trade, island cannot survive. Chinese know this. Americans know this. Everyone knows this. Question is, who's willing to pay price to control these waters? Chinese accept casualties to enforce blockade. Americans accept losses to break it. Taiwan accepts shortages to survive. This is calculus of siege warfare in 21st century. High technology, low sustainability, mutual destruction, and outcome determined not by who's right, but who endures longer. Blockade continues, convoys continue, casualties continue, and everyone wonders when enough becomes enough.